Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm just going to be doing a very quick comparison between the Realme 7 here on the left and the Oppo A72 here on the right. Now both of these phones share a lot of specs in common because they are both produced under this blanket company BBK Electronics. An example to begin with is the settings menu, which as you can see, aside from the size of the text, it is exactly the same. So that's just one thing that these phones have in common, and I'll just go through a few of the specs for you now. So on the left, the Realme 7, you have a 6.5 inch Full HD Plus display with a resolution of 1080 by 2400, which has a 405 pixels per inch pixel density. On the right, strangely enough, it is exactly the same. So same size display, same pixel density, same Full HD resolution. Difference is on the Realme 7 you have a 90Hz refresh rate display, which just makes everything a little bit smoother when you're scrolling through your interface, and you may notice it whilst doing a bit of gaming as well. Up in the top left hand corner you have your selfie cutout. Both of these phones sport a 16 megapixel selfie camera, f2.1 on the Realme 7 and an f2.0 lens on the Oppo A72. So the quality of the selfies is going to be pretty much the same. If we flip them over to talk about the design on the back. So as to be expected at this price range, they're both made of plastic. On the Oppo A72 you've got a more glossy design, which is very reflective, and to be expected, it is a very big fingerprint magnet. And on the left, on the Realme 7, again, like I said, made of plastic. You've got this nice two-tone effect, but it is more of a matte plastic finish. So although it does collect fingerprints as well, it is definitely not as much as the A72. In terms of the camera hardware, they both have quad camera setups, as you can see, and they are both sporting 48 megapixel main sensors. This is backed up by an 8 megapixel ultra wide and then two 2 megapixel supporting lenses, a depth sensor and a macro camera on the Realme 7, and a depth sensor and a black and white lens on the Oppo A72, and then of course you've got your flash there. Both cameras top out at 4K video. This is not stabilized, but you do get electronic image stabilization on the 1080p resolution, which you can choose between 30, 60 and 120 frames per second on the Realme 7, or 30 and 120 frames per second on the Oppo A72. Power packs for these, you both get 5000 milliamp batteries. The Realme 7 supports 33 watt fast charging, but the Oppo A72 is limited to just 18 watts. So you will get much faster charging speeds on the Realme 7. And then powering the phones inside, you've got two very different processors. On the Realme 7, you've got the MediaTek Helio G95 processor, and on the Oppo A72, you've got the Qualcomm Snapdragon 665. Now, they're both very capable for day-to-day use, but if you want something that's going to be better at handling intense gaming and that sort of thing, then I would definitely go for the Realme 7, as the G95 is a more powerful processor in that respect. On the Oppo A72, at least on this model, there is 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, but there is an 8 gigabyte of RAM model with 128 gigs of storage. And then on the Realme 7, I've got 6 gigs of RAM and 64 gigabytes of internal storage, but there are other configurations with 4 and 8 gigabytes of RAM as well. So what are they like to use? Well, like I said, they're both perfectly capable phones for your everyday use. Because of the 90Hz display on the Realme 7, I have found everyday use to be a lot smoother, and I can notice things opening a lot quicker on the Realme 7, like apps, and that sort of thing. So in that respect, I think the Realme 7 definitely has the edge in terms of performance. But like I said, the Oppo A72 is definitely perfectly capable if you're just using it for browsing the web, social media, taking a few photos. It's going to serve you absolutely fine. Now, the question comes down to which one should you pick? Obviously it's down to preference in terms of the design from the back in that perspective, because obviously the front, they are basically identical. But in terms of value for money, I think the Realme 7 does offer slightly better value for money in terms of more powerful processor. I've got 6 gigs of RAM over the 4 gigs on the Oppo A72. Although there's less storage, but I would always pick more RAM over storage because on both of these phones they are expandable. And then the 90Hz display, which I think is a great addition to have. It is a shame that it's not available on the Oppo A72, but at this price point you can't necessarily expect a 90Hz display on any of these phones. It just is really nice that you can get it on the Realme 7. So personally for me, I prefer the look of the Realme 7, and I do like the 90Hz display and the fact that it's got that more powerful processor. But I also like the look of the Oppo A72. When you catch the light, it's got this reflective pattern kind of starting from the camera module. So that is nice as well. In terms of the button controls, both phones have the volume buttons and the SIM tray on the left hand side, and then on the right you've got your power button with your inbuilt fingerprint sensor as well. And then on the bottom you've got your USB-C port, speaker, and both have a headphone jack. So if you're looking from the bottom, they are basically identical as well. So essentially these phones are the same, just with a few specs edging out the Realme 7 in front, I think. But let me know in the comments which one you would pick. Do you have an Oppo A72? Do you have a Realme 7? How are you finding it? Do you have another phone and you're looking at upgrading to something else? Again, let me know in the comments. And if you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel. I've just hit 100 subscribers, which, okay, isn't a lot, but if you really like this video, I would appreciate it if you would consider subscribing so I can now hit that next 200 subscribers mark. That would be absolutely amazing. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.